Hey, welcome.
Live.
It's live. Here, I'm gonna move
It's
the chats over.
alive. Oh, good idea. Then I don't have to be
Yeah, there you go.
like
Look,
this
is
to
it even
see.
better over here?
Oh, yes. I love reading the chats.
There you go.
All of them that come flying.
Well, welcome.
Hello,
We're gonna
friends.
start in a few minutes at 5, but we thought we'd get up and running. Practice our vocals. Peter Piper picked a pickle peppers. If Peter Piper picked a pickle peppers, how many pecks of pickle peppers did Peter Piper pick?
That was well done. That was really good.
I use that a lot before I sing.
That was pretty solid. I liked it a lot. How's your week been?
Chummy. It's been all right. It's
Yeah,
been good.
it's
I keep a very positive outlook these days,
Yes, you
even though
do.
yesterday was a little down, but you know.
Yeah, it's kind of been an up and down emotional roller coaster kind of week. Hello.
Hey, how's it
We'll say
going?
9228 welcome in the chat.
Yeah, what's up?
Laughing at our vocal warm-ups. I'm sorry you had to hear that. So, I was eating nuts like right before we came on and I still have fragments stuck in my throat, so I'm going to try not to be choking this entire time.
TMI.
Yeah. Almonds, cashews, and walnuts. Do you like Brazil nuts? Because mom loves those and I cannot get into them.
Oh, they're all right. I when mom started feeding me garbanzo beans, spinach, soy milk smoothies, I didn't care for those at first either. And now I was enjoying it quite a bit this morning. Like,
Were you really?
oh yeah, she put so much stuff in those smoothies, like you don't even know what's in there. Like it's shocking what she's putting in there. But they taste good because you put vanilla in at the end, and
Honey?
I don't know. I have
Oh.
no idea what she puts in there, but it's to make me healthy. And I mean, this morning it was like really good. And there's one that's turmeric flavored, which is super.
I think
It's got ginger and turmeric, so she makes them. She mixes them up. A berry one,
kind of spicy, the turmeric one. I think like a little bit of a zip to it.
yeah. The berry one, the berry smoothie, she buys these bags of organic frozen berries. And there are so many kinds of berries. And when you're done drinking it, you got to go smile in the mirror. It's like, like 500 little specks. So the whole way to work, I'm like,
Do you still have toothpicks in your car? Because you used to travel with those little flossing, like half toothpick, half flossing thing.
They're called flossing sticks. They're not toothpicks.
The one end is a toothpick, isn't it? Like a curved.
Well, yeah, but I don't walk around with a toothpick. Hey there, partner.
Like a cowboy.
Yeah.
That would be
so yeah, I
cute.
do have some of those, but that's kind of private information.
Sorry.
Like, wow.
I have a brush in my car, but I very seldom brush my hair because it's curly.
We all notice. We talk about that often.
Mike asked me that once. He's like, I know, I just noticed you like never brush your hair. I was like,
me neither.
What about it? Yeah, I do when I get out of the shower, but if I were to brush it like this, have you ever seen it brush? It looks like
yeah. Oh, I've
like
seen
a
your
sheep
hair.
wool. Like if it's brushed, it's like
I think it looks
wool.
cool when it's down, like at the beach.
Yeah,
Like it's all wind whipped and stuff. I think it looks cool.
That's so sweet. Thank you.
Just doing my job. All right. Well, okay. So hey, it's 5:00. We'll go ahead and get started on our.
Thank you. That's what we'll call it. In fact, should we start today's podcast with a prayer?
Oh, why don't you lead us?
I will lead us in prayer.
April.
April Fools.
You are so bad.
I know.
Doomed.
I know.
You psych.
But that's a good segue into today's topic.
Isn't that how it feels so natural though? Because you used to do that for so long.
Yeah.
Pray about everything.
I prayed all the time. It was like a one-way convo, but I always had a dialogue going. But I always have a dialogue going. It's usually, I think because when I was little, I read so much Little House on the Prairie, like the Laura Ingalls story, and it would be her narrating her life. And so from the time I was probably 9 on, I am constantly narrating what I'm doing. Even at work or like Slowly, she slid out of bed. It's so weird, but it is just like a nonstop narration.
I think I think I do. Yeah, I think I
Do you
do
do
that
that
in
too?
some ways. Yeah.
Do you count? Because I
Count.
count. Yeah, okay.
They actually I had at one point a once I told it to my counselor and I don't know how it came up, and it's like, wait, how often? I'll be like, oh, sometimes the whole walk.
Like your steps.
And no, like that was a whole exploration into the OCD world. Like, wait, what do you do? But I do.
We all have our
I
things.
I'll do it like I used to do it all the time in church. It's still something I do if I go visit a church. I'll find something without even thinking about it. Next thing you know, I'll be counting it. I'll lean over to mom and say, "Do you know there's 38 windows here?" And she's like, "I'm listening to the people up front. This is why you're an atheist, you idiot." If you would listen to what they're saying instead of counting church pieces, maybe you would grow
Oh, that's so
spiritually.
funny. Well, I
But
would just be thinking about what was I going to eat when church let out because
yeah,
no matter what, toward the end, I was getting pretty hangry. So I would be thinking about
mm,
lunch usually,
yeah.
unless there
Well,
was snack like in kids' church.
so we do welcome. This is our weekly live stream where just a place for those who are deconstructing from Christianity and any other religion. But if you're in that process or questioning your faith and you just need a safe place to ask those questions or hang out, listen to us, because we'll always have a topic and talk, but we would prefer if people have questions and stuff to let you talk or ask those, and we can talk about that. But if not, it's just a safe place to hang out. I know for myself, the past 7 years, as I was going through that process, there wasn't really anyone to talk to at all, and I was doing a lot of that wrestling about all those, going through all those things by myself, and until about 2.5 years ago when I discovered some of the online people that talk about that kind of stuff, which was so helpful to hear other people
Oh,
like,
yeah.
gosh, I'm not alone. There's these things I've thought for so long. Other people have thought the same things, and it's just encouraging.
Absolutely, it is. Yep.
Yeah.
And that's what we want this to be is just a little safe, cozy space. If you've got questions, we always say this every week, but it doesn't matter if you have a label or not. I consider myself an atheist. I think you consider yourself agnostic.
Snoopy.
Oh, you love Snoopy.
I'm not sure. I just don't believe the story of the Bible anymore. Um, uh, why I didn't try to do that? I tried the opposite. I
Hmm.
dug in to make sure it was accurate, to know that it was all true because I was told that's what you do.
Yeah.
And boy, after more and more things came up and I followed them to their end point, it's just was at some point it just stopped. Like I don't believe this
Yeah.
anymore. Is actually anointed words of God that are all factual and true. So yeah, I'm still open to really anything and would love evidence. Heck, I've asked God for evidence. I've asked if someone has it, I would love to believe and know,
Yeah.
and then I could make a decision. Like if that's something I want to follow, but first I have to know it's true.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like
Yeah.
and then I would decide, well, what do they teach? What do they believe? What do they do? And then is that something I would follow?
I appreciate that you're open mind, and I think that's what we also want to communicate is that we're not proselytizing. So this isn't somewhere where I'm not out arguing with people trying to convince them that the Bible's not real. Well, I
You
okay,
want to so bad.
guys, I got into a Facebook argument this week. Quick aside, I don't argue with people online. I'm not a keyboard warrior, but somebody had posted something saying if you get
You're
divorced
gonna react.
really briefly, they said if you get divorced and then remarried, aren't you committing adultery according to the Bible? And I couldn't let it go, so I hopped in real quick and was like, magic book written a bunch of years ago by people that a lot of them don't even know who they were. No, honey, you're fine. That's not adultery. That's cultish, manipulative, abusive behavior. People are telling you that it is. So I got called.
Well, wait, what do you really think about
I
it?
know, because that's so harmful.
It
And then I
is.
got called delusional by somebody. Somebody got in and said, well, it's God's word, homie. And then I said, well, God's word then also condones child brides slavery has a talking donkey and a talking snake. So if that's what you're into, that's fine. But please don't manipulate somebody into staying in a bad relationship. That's all I'm saying. And then I just was like, I had to remove myself from the chat. So I will no longer be arguing with people on Facebook because
Well, what you talk about, Shrek? Talking
I'm
donkey.
making waffles. Oh my god. I never thought of him as like a biblical character.
Or the snake from Jungle Books. You're getting
Caw,
sleepy.
right?
Sleepy. Yeah.
I loved that snake. I thought he was so cool.
And the Bible also says, I was just sharing with
Oh,
Jess
yeah.
today because I don't know how it came up, but it always on this list of things I was reading. But if you're one of the laws in the Old Testament was if your husband gets in a fight with another guy and you want to step in and help him, if you grab the other guy's genitals, you get your hand cut off. That is the law. I'm like, who knew? Like, right? Wow. So just think, you know,
that is so specific.
I know you would have the conversation starter at every party. You'd be there, like you'd go to scratch your ear, no hand.
What happened?
What happened?
Well,
you're not gonna believe this. My husband got in a fight. I'm like, I need to help him, but I'm a smaller, petite person. So what can I do to this guy? So I went for it, and the next thing you know, so.
Well, I think that's a problem. I mean, that if you're. Sorry, that's so funny. It's one of my favorite. It's so specific. I just like the idea that was important enough to God that he's like.
And did it happen a lot? Like, you're fighting again.
And then.
Like, it must have happened a lot.
Yeah, God's like, we got to do something about all these women grabbing guys.
I mean, I know, like, I get the gist of why, because they had a very big deal about the old genitalia.
They did. That was very, very.
And it was, life came from there. So, well, let's not get into biology.
No, continue.
I'm grossing myself out. And the birds and the bees talk. Well, anyway, so we're going to talk about prayer tonight. And just all of its many
facets.
Oh, one of the designers I was working with yesterday said zhuzh it up. I was like, I love that.
I thought you hated that.
No.
You like zhuzh?
Oh, I like it when people, I would never use it. It'd be kind of like if you were getting in a fight in biblical times. Hey, I'm going to zhuzh you up. And then your wife comes in.
You know what I don't like? It's frou-frou.
Oh, yeah.
That bothers me a lot. Like, I don't mind. What's the word everyone hates?
I think that's it.
Well, that's one. No, there's one that millennials hate that they can't even.
Oh, I'm not a millennial.
It's like blarg or something, but it's a real word. It's not blarg. I forget what it is. If you know it, throw it in the chat. And if it bothers you, if it's triggering, I won't say it. But there's a word that people don't like. And it doesn't bother me, but frou-frou bothers me.
Well, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, it just
it's a little frou-frou.
Yeah, exactly.
Zhuzh.
So if you're in the Old Testament and your husband's going to zhuzh somebody up and you go in and you grab the other guy's frou-frou, you get your hand cut off. Yes. Does it bother you? 9228, is that going to... We won't say it out loud then. Thank you. That's the word and I could not think of it. So not blarg, but you get the gist. Well, how would you want to start talking about prayer?
Well, I just, so like, since this is a place for those people who are questioning all their faith or maybe struggling with it, I think prayer is one of the big things that is so confusing as a Christian. Mm-hmm. It was always because I think there's so many contradictory verses in context that really seem like, man, if you have two or more gathered in my name and ask according to my will, it will be done.
Exactly. And there's some verses that kind of flat out say, if you believe this enough, it will happen.
Yep.
So Mark 11:23 says that they must not doubt in their heart. They must believe that what they say will happen. Then it will be done for them. And that's even talking about throwing a mountain into the sea.
Yeah.
So that's kind of confusing. If then there's something that you really want, you're praying for it very sincerely, it doesn't happen. I think the problem is that you're kind of told in church circles, then you're actually not really believing that it will happen. And it's kind of thrown back on you as like you're praying wrong.
Those are some of the challenges, and it
Yeah.
depends on who you're around. Like, dude, I was like most of my friends when I was in church and I was a Christian are pretty rational people. They thought the
Hmm.
same way I did. Because the ones that were weird about it, I kind of avoided. And like,
Same.
because I'm like, that's not reality. Like, eh, eh, you could just test this in reality. Like, obviously, no matter what the Bible says, what verse says about your prayers will be answered. Not true. It's a 50-50 shot, and it either is going to be yes, no, or maybe. So it might as well be what's the
It's
point, right?
almost
So
like
then
it's a
and and
random.
and then it would get me always back to the point then God knows then what's the point I'm even doing all this? Well, it's he wants a relationship. Why? So he can hear me ask and say no? Like
Right.
that only does not do good with for the relationship if you're or be silent because a no would have been good. Like
Right. I That's what I was gonna say.
no, Brian.
God.
Like that would be good to know.
Yeah.
Like I would, but it wasn't that. It was like you're just left guessing. And a lot of it's pretty trivial, but a lot of things that people would pray about and say, God answered this and he did this, but not the big things that we would really, it would be really handy to have him answer, like, you know, St. Jude's or Nationwide Children's Hospital, where
Mm.
there's just children with horrible stuff, and their parents are just in sincere faith asking and for something to be for them to be healed, and that's great. Here's the bottom line: sometimes kids in medicine works and they get better, sometimes it doesn't. But if it was a God that if we can ask and call the elders of the church to come together and pray for those who are sick and they will be healed, if that was true, none of this would be, no one would be discussing any of this, right? Because
Exactly.
no one would even be discussing if this is, if the Bible is true or not. We would all know because, we wouldn't see children go through that. We wouldn't see all these things that we see, starving children around the
Mm.
world and just everything we witness.
I think the only, and I don't necessarily think it's harmful, obviously, if for people to be praying. I think
Yeah,
that
I
the
think it makes
only
them feel
harm
better.
is when you're kind of taught, hey, if you gather together and pray for this thing and it will happen if you're doing it sincerely enough and you're really believing, and then that prayer doesn't get answered. I could see, and I have seen, where that leads people to believe that it's some kind of deficit in them, that there's something that they're not, since they don't have enough faith or they don't have enough belief. And that is a pretty huge burden to place on people. And I have seen that almost even with things, especially like mental health type stuff, is almost like, well, if you have enough faith, if you pray enough, that will resolve. And that is just not founded in any sort of reality. It's just chemicals in the brain. And so I think that the harm in it is when there's almost, I've even known, this is probably less because, like you said, when there were fringier people, we kind of distanced ourselves a bit. But I have known and heard of people who got sick and did not get medical help or treatment because they had faith that God was going to heal them through prayer. And I think that's where it can kind of take a slightly more harmful turn. Is that so harsh?
No,
Those
I
stunning.
agree completely. It's like
Yeah.
I think it's
It's magical thinking. Like,
Jehovah Witnesses. I think like won't do the blood transfusions because of
oh,
that. Well, I'm not even going to say why. I just pretty sure that's still one of the things they teach. It certainly was at one point, but um, man, with what I would have just died last year.
yeah.
Like with what I had to have blood transfusions, and just think if your religion is putting you that something like that, that no, you believe in faith, that it's kind of scary.
It is. I think that's really, really scary.
And it's like I was one of the things that always struck me kind of crazy about prayer was the ending of Mark that was added on that wasn't like in the original text, the earliest editions or the earliest manuscripts doesn't have that ending of Mark. It was added later, and they think kind of to tie it back in with Matthew and Luke, which is kind of odd because Matthew and Luke were using Mark as a source. So
Yeah.
I don't know how that works, but the whole thing about that you can drink poison, you can handle
Snakes.
snakes, you can pray for the sick and they will be healed. And um, how many people have really built whole fraud, I mean, ministries off of like healing stuff, and it's not like, and all the damage that that's
Yes.
caused. And it's from a part that is pretty well understood that was not even added, like, or was added to the Bible, was even originally in there. So I
That's
guess it's
really interesting.
making those decisions about prayer, and then, like you said, putting that guilt on people, like there's something wrong with you, or you didn't try hard enough, or is there hidden sin in your life, and those kind of things are just so damaging.
It is.
And
It's
it's
kind of
really,
like victim blaming almost in a way. It
yeah,
has the same kind of effect, I think, or feel.
like the whole thing is bizarre to me anyway. A loving, perfect, all-knowing, all-wise Father, why wouldn't you just why wouldn't you just get those things?
Right.
Why wouldn't you just why wouldn't he just answer you, or at least explain to you why not? That is what a good, loving parent would do.
Yeah.
If they just ignore you or they're silent, that's not good,
I was going to say
especially in those
that.
critical times. Like, that's not good.
That's almost worse. Like if Mike's at work and I text him something and it's kind of important and I'm waiting for an answer, whether it's yes or no, the worst part is waiting, especially if it's like, "Oh, I don't know how he's going to feel about this." And you shouldn't text important things, but sometimes I do because I'm a little cowardly. And I send a text and then I'm waiting for a response.
You're
Though
not cowardly.
sometimes I literally had dad break up with someone for me over text. Do you remember that? Years ago. I was like yeah, well, I was in my early 20s, but I was like, I don't want to do it. Text somebody the way you'd want to be broken up with. And you were like, well, I
Dude,
don't
I've been broke. I had so many girls break up with me. I knew exactly what to say. I'm like, this is my sweet
I literally
spot. I had many, and we're asking mom. Mom's like, well, yeah, she probably broke up with 50 people.
she was a pro. But you literally texted him. I was like, this is a low point for me, but that was a small example of my cowardice a long time ago, I should add. I forget what I was going to say. I
You
derailed.
were saying you
Oh, like
text.
being in the interim waiting and not getting a response. I think too that there's sort of a confirmation bias that happens when people you pray for, obviously if you're a Christian you're praying for a lot of different things, and there tends to be more of a propensity to fixate on the things that happen the way that you wanted them to and say God answered that prayer, and ignore the prayers that did not get answered. Or even if it's, well, we don't know why he's not answering, we don't know why he chose to do it that way. But again, like you were saying, a really loving, compassionate being, you would think, would provide some sort of explanation instead of just radio silence.
Yeah, uh, Father knows how to give good gifts, and how much more. It's just also confusing. There's so much contradictory information that you're kind of left with, and that's why I think so many denominations have different thoughts and ideas on prayer,
Yeah,
because they we're all left to kind of put cobble together an understanding of it all, because there are so many different things said about it, and
exactly.
contradictory things said about
Yeah, because you've
prayer.
got the name it, claim it's who kind of think that if you believe in something, it's almost like the power of attraction. I think the name it, claim it crowd, there's some crossover there. But that was always bizarre to me because I would think, well, that's kind of treating God like a vending machine or something. And then so much pressure is put on those folks of you're not doing it right or you didn't believe in it enough or something. And that's extremely harmful because it's putting a lot of pressure on people that isn't deserved. But I also thought it'd be interesting. I do have a study. It's the 2006 study on the scientific efficacy of prayer that scientists conducted in conjunction with a hospital. Let me pull up the exact name of that hospital because I think that'd be good to have that information. Oh, it's my MyChart login was what was immediately pulled up.
Yeah, it was the I believe it was the step studies,
Yes.
spiritual no, I forget what it stood for, but it was pretty well known study um, on
Oh,
prayer.
by the John Templeton Foundation. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I had this all pulled up and written down. Oh, yeah. Study of the therapeutic effects of intercessory prayer. Step.
Study therapeutic effects of prayer.
The
Yes.
intercessory. Yes.
And there's good therapeutic. I think it's for those who are praying.
So that was the first thing I was going to bring up because I don't want this to be all a we're like bashing kind of a live stream. As we've said, although there are definitely some, I think it's just validating to also talk about the harmful effects of dogmatic religion. But there was a lot of research and evidence that came out about the therapeutic benefits of prayer for the person who's praying, just in the exact same way that meditation is therapeutic and beneficial. So, reducing anxiety, reducing stress, even inflammation, and possibly less pain. But these were for the people who were actually praying. Interestingly enough, so that STEP study that we mentioned, they did it in 2006, and it took 1,800 patients who had received a coronary bypass surgery
At 6 different hospitals.
So it wasn't even all the same hospital. And they broke them up into three groups. The first group was being prayed for and knew that they were being prayed for. And the second group was being prayed for and didn't know it. And then the third group wasn't being prayed for at all. Which, like, if you're going to take a gamble, that's pretty bold. But this was what was really interesting. So they like released the names of these people. I think first names and last initial or middle initial, it depended. And different congregations would take them and they would specifically, church congregations would specifically pray for the individuals who had received the surgery. And then they were going to monitor complications as a result of that, symptoms and side effects, and see who did the best to see if there was any validity to prayer. Interestingly enough, the group who knew that they were being prayed for had like 9% more complications than the other groups. They don't know why, and part of that could just be the luck of maybe there were just people in there that had more, but there were some speculation. They didn't say this for sure that this was like guaranteed, but it was enough of a statistic that they were speculating it could have been the pressure of knowing that they were being prayed for, that they felt like they had to perform
Maybe
better.
they had more anxiety or
That they had more anxiety.
or something
Performance
like that,
anxiety is what the study said. And then there was some interesting stuff on the Rosenthal or Pygmalion effect. That's usually applied in academic situations with students. So the Rosenthal effect would be if a professor is given a group of students and the professor's told this group of students is exemplary and they will perform better. And then the professor just believes that about the students, whether it's true or not, and treats them like they will, usually that group will do better. However, the flip side of that is that there can almost be a burnout effect if you have that pressure of knowing I'm supposed to be elite, I'm supposed to be better. The people can get kind of burnt out, overwhelmed, and anxious and perform worse. And that there was some speculation that the group that knew that they were being prayed for was like reporting like, oh no, even if they were having symptoms, they felt like, well, I want this prayer study to show that I was in the group that was doing better. And so they might have been, their reporting could have been skewed, but they actually physically were having slightly worse symptoms, side effects, complications, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But across the board, there was no difference between the three groups besides the one group that did slightly worse.
Yeah. And I mean, you don't even need to do the test. It's like you can just go and live life.
You could just observe it and
be a Christian, right? Like, and look around and see how many people are prayed for, what the results are, and all those kind of things. Hey,
oh, what's up, Uncle Bug?
But the thing that, what's up? Hey, the thing that got me the most was like, or that's a really good example of this, and I just didn't think of it at the time, but it's called like the sharpshooter fallacy, and it's where it's like if you have a tiny little target 100 yards away, the likelihood of hitting it is very slim. But if you shoot the bullet and then go see where the bullet hit the tree and draw a circle around it, you'll hit it every time because you're making the target and you're creating the target itself. And that's what you focus on. For me, like I even think back to when I was first becoming a believer, I went to church for a year. And with everything in me wanted that experience and that something to happen. And I prayed over and over and over and over and over and over and over. over and over and over and over again. I mean, seriously, it was a long year and nothing happened. And then one time it did, that I had some experience or response. And it's funny that for a long time, I forgot about that entire prior year where nothing, but I remembered that one. And it's almost kind of like the sharp, like I drew a circle around that one. That one worked. So it worked. But I somehow forgot all the other times it didn't. And I think that's what happens a lot.
That's the sharpshooter fallacy.
Yeah, like you kind of focus on the ones that do work, and then
Yeah,
you forget a lot of the ones that don't. And yeah, so
I can
I
definitely
think
see
that's
that.
what happens a lot of times. I can't even imagine or remember the things I've asked for over the years and all of that, and all the ones that don't happen. Again, you chalk it up to, well, whatever, it must not be the right time. No, maybe I'm doing something wrong I don't know about. Maybe um, there's something going on in my heart I don't know about. Maybe I didn't ask right or something.
Yeah.
Maybe it just wasn't. Maybe it was God's will. He wanted this done, and that you make all the excuses, but the ones that do work, it was like, yes, that worked, and
Yep.
it kind of reinforces that whole idea.
Would that be considered confirmation bias?
I don't know,
I don't either. I think so. I don't know. You're confirming
but
a bias, I guess. I don't know if that matters or not.
but for me, I think some of the like the uh more challenging things were for, so like dealing with depression and anxiety, which was pretty bad for me when I first had it. And I went to Christian counselor, and like I was told to repeat and learn memory verses. Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything, prayer and petition and thanksgiving, present your requests to God, and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your heart and mind in Jesus. Because it was just presented to me in the denomination I went to, that that's how it all worked. This is something magical
Hmm.
about this word. There's something, it does not return void. It has power. You say this and it will just, I still struggle with anxiety and depression today. And it's been
Yeah.
35 years.
Same.
It did not work. And what it did do was started chipping away at like my understanding and belief in, like, well, something's wrong here. Either this person doesn't understand how this word is supposed to be applied, or if that is true, then it's not working.
Right.
So that created some doubt. And then I eventually understood that's not how any of it's supposed to work. This is not magical words that just make things happen. It would be so nice if
Yeah.
it did. The world would be an entirely different place, and we wouldn't have, again, Children's Hospital or St. Jude's and all of those kind of places. I wouldn't have had to counsel someone whose 5 year old just went to kindergarten with a cold, and he got a call that it was some weird infection and he died at school. Like,
Oh, yeah.
those things wouldn't happen. Like, because if it worked like that, and I understand that the it's our his ways are above our ways and all of that kind of stuff.
I think it's more
Um,
comforting to think that.
but all I'm left with is my intellect, my understanding, my reasoning, and that's all I've really got to work with. And it's just where some of
Yeah.
those things, particularly when it came to prayer, there were just so many questions and things that just didn't seem to line up.
I think for me, one of them was that there's always this pressure that you're supposed to hear from God too. And for me, it was always just a one-way street. And then this is kind of a weird one, but I would always feel this pressure if even at work, like if somebody shared something with me, they were going through a hard time, that I would feel this pressure like, I have to ask them if I can pray with them because that's like the thing to do. And then I would. And now what's really interesting is like years later in life, I've noticed because we've had like a pretty rough year and a half. And I've noticed the things that matter the absolute most are like I have a really good friend who lives pretty close, like across the street. And I was texting her, I'm having a hard, there are a couple things that she did, but one day I was having a rough day and I had like a splitting migraine. And she goes, okay, I'm dropping off this headache wrap. It's like a frozen wrap that you put on your head. She's like, don't answer the door. I know you don't feel good. I'm just dropping it off. And she did. And that was so huge, and it was like an actual concrete thing. But I would, instead of saying like, "Oh, I'm praying for you that you feel better," like she actually just like got up and did something. And then another day I was having a rough day and she sent over a bouquet of flowers and a stuffed chicken because I love chickens. And it started making me think like, and it's kind of the same thing of if you tell somebody, and you can't always do something, but even if I, for somebody like that, but even if I was going through a rough time and you or somebody I was talking to just texted back or said back, "Hey, if you need to talk, I'm absolutely available," and said something like physical and concrete, "Here's what I can do. How can I help you?" Or something that was actually more comforting to me than being prayed with, to be honest. Because I think, especially now, I don't, as an atheist, it doesn't really do anything for me. It's nice to be thought of. It's so much nicer when someone goes, "Do you need something? Can I help you? Can I listen? Do you want to talk about it?" Have
Yeah.
you found that?
That's been the biggest change for me is because
I've seen that
after
with you.
praying for like 35 years, like, and I even prayed before that when I used to pray when I was partying, like, God, if you get me through tonight, I swear I'll change. If you just let me
Oh,
see
we've
the
all been
morning
there.
light.
Yeah.
And so I always prayed and talked to God. So it was a big void at first, like, gosh. And I would even do it after I'm thinking like, I don't think I'm talking to anyone anymore, but it was such a habit that I had done for so long. And what I started thinking was like, gosh, well, I think it was something going on with you. And I was like, I felt so helpless. Like, I used to
Aw.
feel like, well, at least I could say, hey, I'm praying for you. And then I think that's when I started thinking, like, well, what can I do? Like, what really can I do? Can I send you a card or drop something off on your porch on the way to work? Or and then I started thinking like, and then I started thinking like, man, think how different it would be in like the world, period. Like if we all did that, like
Yeah.
all believers, instead of every time you thought of praying, instead of said, I'm going to practically do something for that person. I'm going to send them a card or a gift card, or I'm going to go shovel their driveway or whatever. If we really did something, it
Yeah.
would be because it's so easy to say, I'm praying for you.
Uh, it,
And,
it is.
and also finding out like when it's all, when you're like, I guess I hate to say it, but you run the numbers on it. It's
Yeah.
like, it doesn't seem make it much difference either way. Sometimes it seems to work, sometimes it doesn't seem to work, and I think that's just because uh, that's life.
No, I agree. Actually, this past like 2 weeks have been personally like very difficult, and I've had so many people like you guys dropped off a bunch of groceries and
Mom did.
DoorDash gift cards and food and stuff. Uncle Doug, who's in the chat, reached out and was like, "Hey, if you need anything, I'm here for you." My cousin reached out, "If you need anything, I'm here for." Like people were really, and that is so helpful and huge, and just to feel like cared about. So picking up the phone and sending a text like, "Hey, if you need anything," and I know I asked some questions and was like, "What would you do about this?" And it was so helpful, and I just appreciate that so much to actually like receive real practical help in real time. And again, not that there's anything inherently wrong with praying or bad about it, but I've just noticed for me physically, like practically, it is much more helpful when people actually reach out or like I was telling mom, I ran into someone at work like a year or so ago. I was going through a hard time and she knew that and pulled me aside and was like, "Hey, how are things going?" And I was like, "Yeah." She goes, "Is it okay if I pray with you?" And I was like, "Sure." And then for like 5 minutes, she's just praying and praying. And honestly, it would have been a lot more helpful to me if she'd gone, "You want to sit down for a second and talk?" and had like listened and engaged in a back and forth dialogue. And I was thinking about that because you don't even have to pray to do that. I can be a bit of a monologuer when people are going through a hard time. And what does Mike say? I can be a little bit like therapizing because I took one psychology course in college, so I think I'm a psychologist.
She's dangerous
Oh my gosh, it's like the word. What's that? What's that? Yeah, you're the most dangerous when you have like a little bit of information, a little bit of knowledge, but like
and aren't afraid to use
a
it.
lot of gum flapping. Yeah. I'm a big gum flapper.
You got a 6 shooter.
I, I do. I like,
No, you're actually pretty dang smart. You're
oh.
intuitively good with people,
Oh.
emotionally intelligent.
Sakes a billion.
He loves that.
That cracks me up.
He loves that.
And I know I agree. Like, so first off, like this is a deconstruction place, like for people that are
Yes.
going through these same kind of things. So I would never say these things to someone who that stuff is important to them.
Yeah.
I would never say it. It's like, because I get it. Like it was, it was interesting to me. Like, um, one of the things with prayer, I mean, I'd been doing it so long and seeing that I really struggled with it towards the end because it's like, okay, he's all knowing, he's a perfect father. I don't hear anything, I don't ever see anything. The things I do see that are answered by people, sometimes I question because they're just random things. Like it probably happens from time to time, and sometimes it doesn't. That's why sometimes it's answered, sometimes it's not.
Yep.
And then you see a lot of people that pray for very serious things, and sometimes every once in a while something happens, but a lot of times it doesn't. Um, and I just started coming away with like, I don't know. And it's one of those things I think in the changing of my understanding of it all is like, maybe this isn't as dialed in as I was led to have believed. And,
Mm-hmm.
um, maybe someone's not listening and maybe that's not the way it works. And I'm not saying like, I still think the possibility for spirituality or some greater something is possible. What I would think is he's not very interested in getting involved in our day-to-day lives like humans need,
Yeah.
because we just know, like if a child or an adult child has a parent that they ask for and they ask for emotional stuff, help, support, and they don't get it, that relationship dissolves.
Oh, yeah.
And rightly so. But somehow it's supposed to be different for an all knowing, all loving God. If you get the same result, it's like you're not supposed to think anything about that, or like
Right.
there's something wrong with this picture. If you're not supposed to think that, that's cool. But I'm just not wired that way and could not help but to start thinking those things and
Yeah.
wondering, like, maybe this isn't exactly what I thought it was.
I think the only, like, and I think the real danger with that is, and the only way that that can be potentially harmful is that a lot of times it's kicked back on the church member, the Christian, whoever, as you don't have enough belief, then you don't have enough faith, you're praying wrong. And it might not even be said in so many words, but we know the phrases of, well, the Bible does say though, if you have enough faith and you ask for it, God will do it for you. So that's implying that you don't have enough faith, and that just isn't the case. The case is that it's probably randomized events
Yeah.
happening. And so I think that, but that can be very damaging to people if it's this thing that is so deeply important to them and your spiritual eternity hangs in the balance and you're being told or led to believe you don't have enough faith, there's something spiritually wrong with you. I think that can be really harmful, and that's just not the case. There's nothing wrong with you.
Yeah. And I think, like I said many times, I think it was close to 8 years ago now that I really finally started to allow myself to really dig in to answer these things, because I'd thought them for a long time, but I
Yeah.
didn't. There was something in my mind saying, gosh, what happens if you search these things out, and where could this lead? Because I started getting that feeling like, man, this could really undermine some things. And at the time
Yeah.
I was a pastor. So like, it was like, that wouldn't be a good thing. Uh-oh. But, I was always told, and I absolutely believe, if this is the truth, you cannot help but know it. And I would find out that truth at one way or another,
Yeah.
what is true. And so starting to just really look at those things for the first time was something I had to do.
Yes.
And it just has changed definitely on the prayer thing.
Me too. And I would always have a continuous dialogue. I mean, morning till night.
Yeah, so did I.
In my head of talking to God. But again, like I've said, it was a very one-sided thing. And I mean, begging for some kind of sign that he was real, that I was doing it right, that I was really saved, and I never got anything. And you would think, like, even if I were reaching out to you, so I always use the father example, and you like it because it's like you're God.
No.
But if I was reaching out to you,
Yeah, no, I'm not.
I know, but
Okay, now I'm going to draw a mustache on you.
oh, okay, put a pin in that because I want to tell you about something I learned about my skin. Like, even if I reach out to you imperfectly, a text or something, let's say that, you wouldn't go, well, not doing it quite right. The confidence isn't quite there. I'm going to let you keep hanging on. A loving parent would not do that. Real quick, sidebar about the mustache, may I? Because this is fascinating and I just learned this. Have you all ever heard of something called melasma? I'm just curious because I just learned.
I think I took her to prom.
Well, wait till you say this. So in the summertime, when I start to get a tan, this new thing started happening where right here gets dark. Not hairs, because I have hairs, but they're super blonde.
Oh.
But it gets tan right here, but like not tan, but dark. And I get a little mustache like Mario or Luigi. And I was telling somebody about it that I just met. Well, I thought I had a mustache last year, and Mike was like, do you have a mustache? And I go, yeah, I think.
I can't even grow one.
He looked real close, and he's like, it's not hairs. Your skin's just black. So it's called melasma. And I just learned from this lady who's a doctor that I met, who's a new friend of mine. She said, that's a thing that happens, and there's creams and stuff that you can like bleach it.
Oh, wow.
But I don't know because I feel like it adds to my mystique when I have
a mustache.
Yeah. It's a me.
Mario.
Yeah, but I was so
I didn't
excited.
notice.
I'll show you. Even in some pictures, I took them and I was like, this is a great picture, but I have a very distinctive little Italian mustache.
So if I stand out in the sun, I can grow hair?
It's not hair. I hope it's not hair.
Okay.
It's
I'm gonna
the skin itself.
Dude, I'm getting outside
darkens.
Right now. Wow, I did not notice that.
Yep. Mike actually said it's cute, so
did you
do with that what you will.
Did you pray for it?
I prayed it would go away. I'm over here like, it's not like a handlebar. It's a little tiny. Can you imagine a big like Colonel Sanders?
Oh gosh, it's like the walrus one. Brimley. What's his guy?
Yeah.
Walter Brimley.
Anyways, that you said mustache, and I just learned that I might be able to do some. It's something that's developed later in life for me.
Nice.
Melasma. Well, who knew?
You're supposed to keep growing.
Just not new mustaches.
So yeah. So well, you had quite a bit to say about prayer.
I did. Because I was just research. Oh, and Mike had brought up and wanted me to talk about.
Well, I will say I liked it.
Praying.
Yeah, I was talking. I told you before we started. I was talking praying a few nights ago. Like I was just like, because I just keep seriously. I've always wanted to know. Yeah. Like and there's something still in me that's still. Every once in a while, I'll throw that out there. Like, I really would love to know, like, if you know me, care about me, want to have a relationship, would just let me know. And
absolutely. This and that's what this is for. So even somebody could be here who's not deconstructed, but even if someone was here that feels like, am I the only one? Because I think the problem is that at a lot of churches, everyone acts like they know 100%. That there is a God and that they have a relationship and they talk to him. And I don't think it's realistic that everyone there 100% really feels and believes it. And there's probably a lot of people that feel like Dad and I, where we wanted it or want it to be real and pray and don't feel anything and don't hear anything. And there's not really a safe space in church to talk about that because you get told like, well, you're not doing it right. You're not trying hard enough. And so we just want to
Devil's foothold.
And Slewfoot.
Slewfoot foothold. I always hated that. I'm like, dude, I'm not trying to give anybody a foothold.
No, I know.
And if I don't think he's real, I certainly don't think there's a devil out there trying to destroy everything.
Can you imagine?
Well, that would be ridiculous. Like, well, let's put the most wicked creature and let's give him control of the earth over my dearly loved children who are prone to sin. What could go wrong?
Like, what could go wrong?
Okay. But anywho, back at the bar.
Yeah.
Well, it's just a thought.
We can no, but it's a very, very valid
I
point.
used to think that all the time. And again, it's probably like, well, Brian, this is why religion didn't stick to you. But when people would be doing worship, I would always find myself looking around. I'm like, I like, because there'd be people like so intense and like, I'm like, man, what's happening to them that's not me? And they're like, well, quit looking at me and pay attention to God and you might get it.
Remember
But
the
I did that for a
you
long
remember
time.
the high five?
Yeah.
That was one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. Someone was like this with their hands up, but their eyes were closed, and this other guy came up and acted like he was high fiving their hands when they were up. But they never knew. Like the person with their hands up never knew.
Oh
And
my
we were
God.
in
What
the
if
row
they
behind
think
them
like
cracking up.
they were touched?
Oh, I
May have
don't
been.
think they made contact.
Oh, that would have really
No,
been. You've been like,
that's what was the funniest part. They had no idea, but he just came up and was like, went in for a high five.
and if
Oh,
you weren't raised in a or attending a
evangelical.
evangelical church, people raise their hands and stuff.
We
And
were
they're,
freaking free in the spirit, y'all. But that always stressed me out because I was like, these people must be feeling something that I'm not if they feel like they can do all that. So then I would try it and then I'd be freaking out if I had pit stains or I would just be thinking about all that kind of stuff instead of like, but I think that's probably a very normal human experience. But if you talked about that, you were just
dude,
told you weren't focused enough on God, blah, blah, blah. And that's just, no,
I mean, have you
we're
seen
people.
footage of any like large event where people are? They
Yeah.
have all kinds of experiences and emotions. Like, have you ever seen like early footage of when the Beatles came to the
Oh
United
my God.
States
Well,
and they would
yeah.
play at I think they play at Shea Stadium or one of those famous baseball stadium, but outdoor. They couldn't hear. They said they couldn't hear themselves. Like they couldn't tell what they were playing because the screaming was so loud. Ladies were fainting and just screaming through the whole thing nonstop. And then, I mean, I've been to concerts where I've seen people, the whole, whatever it is at the Richfield. I don't know if that was 15,000 people, but all in
Wow.
unison, hand in hand. People tears over
Oh yeah.
over secular music. So you can have very strong emotional experiences, and a lot of times they're, especially if they're being choreographed and kind of
Yeah.
planned and
Well,
that
it
kind of,
is, and
and you're in a setting like that. But
I did actually talk to a former member of a worship team a couple weeks ago, and they were saying that even in like planning the music, it was planned to crescendo and evoke an emotional
yeah,
trance-like response in people. I don't know if they use the word trance-like, but to evoke that release, that kind of a response. At the Lady, I went to a Lady Gaga concert.
oh, well, now I know why you're an atheist.
Pop, 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 poker face, pop, pop, poker face.
Ooh,
Yep. That was
I
one of the
like.
coolest experiences of my
Well, tell
life.
me about. Oh, see, that's
It was the
you know who
Monster
she
Ball
was.
tour. It was moving.
She was good in A Star Is Born,
Oh my goodness.
but not as good as Bradley.
Bradley Cooper. He made an impression on you in A Star Is
I
Born.
actually gave up my man crush. I think at that point it went from Russell Crowe to Bradley Cooper.
Well, that's totally
But
valid.
Russell lost a little in what was the movie where he put on a few pounds and he was so angry and he was driving around
Oh,
town.
what's that movie called?
It was about, I think it was something about that.
Road Rage movie.
It was hilarious.
Did
I
you
think
see
me and Gabe watched it together. It was, I mean, yeah.
There was one horror movie actually that he was in where he was like a pope, and it was
It was the
it was
Pope's
post
Exorcist.
yeah,
It was the Pope's Exorcist.
and it was post his not what's that gladiator phase.
Oh yeah,
and
like
he's riding a bike with his legs stick unhinged. Thank you, really. Okay, yeah, that was the
and he's
movie.
on a moped. He's Jack Grotus. And he's
He's
off
got
to
his
fight the
legs-
demons.
Yeah, and yeah, really said unhinged. So that's the movie where he's really angry. If you want to watch that one.
Oh,
But
I
yeah,
used to love
I
Russell
know.
Crowe.
No, you went from Russell Crowe to Daniel Craig and then Bradley Cooper. I don't know why I know
Daniel
that.
Craig is a looker.
Well, his eyes are like cobalt blue.
I just never noticed men in movies until I got a little older.
Hey, if you
and
got
then I started realizing, wow, I see why people like
I'm sorry that you had to wake up to this. Really.
I just started thinking. Well,
If
has
y'all
that
have
has that ever happened to you? Like
or I started noticing
something,
women in movies. Yeah.
or no, just like you, something people I guess have done all the time, and you never were really part of it, and all of a sudden it's like my eyes were open. Like they're beautiful. Like,
Yeah, I would say
oh, you
yeah.
know who I really liked for a while was what was the zombie movie I love? Where all the
Oh, World
zombies
War
climb
Z.
up over the wall, World War
Brad
Z.
Pitt.
Oh my gosh. And then he got kind of ape-like looking after a while. Like,
Oh, like the Neanderthal forehead.
yeah, I don't know what happened, but man, I was
Yeah, you were very
a
in.
big Brad Pitt fan for a while. Anyhow, back to the
If you
prayer.
have a man crush, throw it in the chat. We'd love to see who it is. Or a lady
Wait,
crush.
who's your man crush?
Oh, Sir Ian McKellen. I'm not his Gandalf. I'm not his type. He's definitely not into women.
Gandalf?
Yeah, but I absolutely love him. And then Lady Gaga is my other.
I know
She's
you.
my woman
I
crush.
know you like older men. He's like an ancient wizard.
Exactly. Say less. Exactly.
Wow,
I
man.
know. It's shocking, isn't it?
Not even Gimli? Gimli.
No. It's the dwarves who go swimming with little hairy women. That's only in the extended cut. But
Toss me.
you'll have to toss me. No, I do his sound in the Mines of Moria. No. That's
I was waiting for more.
a mine.
A
A
mine.
mine.
Yeah,
I love the Lord of the Rings.
me too. Christian.
It was, yeah. Yeah, it was. But that's
He was a little wild and woolly though.
Tolkien.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. He invented an entire language.
It's interesting how it all evolved, like how different it used to be, and how like the whole religion. We're just like we go to churches. That's what I think about all the time. Like my church experience was Catholic first,
Mhm.
and the Catholicism of today. Can you even imagine what it was like originally? I mean, it was uh, nothing like what it would be today. But then my church experience, what?
I was thinking about mine was like fundamentalist, speaking in tongues, crazy in the Holy Spirit, then Baptist, then non like mine kind of was the opposite. Mine was like
Why would your parents do that to you?
I don't
They were
know.
doing like an experiment. We were like, I'm going to talk to them after this. I'm going to call them up and talk to your parents and make sure they apologize.
No.
They were probably like, oh, let's see what happens to them.
I will say, I think it'd be really fun to do one live stream about speaking in tongues and also rapture phobia. Anyone else have, like, as a child, a paralyzing fear of the rapture? I still am afraid of the moon because some point in Revelation it says if the moon turns blood red, it means the rapture is going to happen. And I can't even, like, people go, look at the moon. It's so pretty. It's orange. I'm like, I can't. I'm
The
literally
moon.
afraid of the freaking moon.
Seriously,
Yep.
still today? Wow.
But also, when I was like 8, I had a nightmare that I looked up and there were skeletons dancing on the moon. So I think that was part of it. Nothing to do with the Bible. But then the blood red part, there were so many times when I saw that the moon was orange and I'm like, that's it. It's happening.
Oh yeah, like we were saying today, like it's hot and heavy now with the end times with everything going on with
Oh yeah, with the Middle East and
Iran
stuff.
and
Yeah. But there's been speculation about the end times. I mean, during the Holocaust, and I think
yeah, but they said there would be an orange beast.
Oh my God, it's happening.
It doesn't say that.
Wonderful Antichrist, best Antichrist we ever saw. Really marvelous, really. I can't do how.
A vaccine. It's just a flu. It's just a cold. We don't need a vaccine. I invented a vaccine. Let's make everyone buy it and take it. Okay.
That was pretty good. Except
Every once in a while, I can do it.
Oh,
I'm not even saying like anything negative about him. I just love his. He just says
you
whatever's
gotta
on
say
his
it's
mind.
freaking entertaining and it's not polished and it's fun. It's the
Oh,
most
yeah.
interesting. Yeah, I would totally agree.
I like it. I like that. So, well, back anyway on the conversation. As we're heading into our last 5 minutes, and I can smell dinner.
I know
And
that's potatoes.
Man, I smell bug.
Potatoes.
Any wrap up you'd like to say on anything? On the prayer conversation, church in general, your experiences this week,
Oh, we
any other hairy things?
we bought new baby chicks last night.
Uh-oh. I can't believe you're buying more chickens.
I know, and we're brooding like 6 eggs right now that are going to hatch, but we wanted more full-size chickens.
Is that why Mike's at home?
He's sitting on eggs.
He's a brute.
He's a big mother hen.
He's a brooder.
So we got 4 new baby chicks, a buff Orpington. They're going to be big, plump, fat, big belly hen. You know I love big animal bellies. And they're just big fatties. And then 3 olive eggers that will lay like different colored green, different variations of green.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So because they were already hatched and we didn't want to do the whole, what's that called? Brooder box thing. We have hens who are broody, so they're totally just sitting on eggs right now. It's all they want to do. Last night when they fell asleep, like in the middle of the night, we snuck out there with the baby chicks, put them underneath the broody hens, and the little chicks cuddled in and went to sleep. And then when they wake up in the morning, they're like, oh, we hatched chicks. That's what's new with me.
Wow. You guys got like the island of Dr. Moreau going on over there.
Oh, what's that?
No, I think it's a classic book.
Dr. Moreau.
I think it was written by the same guy who wrote Frankenstein. We've had this conversation before. It was a horror book, but it was like a classic, like Dracula or Frankenstein. And he did animal type experiments on animals and humans, I think, on this island.
Ooh.
And they made a movie of it at some point, but I don't think it was ever a very popular movie.
They should remake. They could remake it and cast Bradley Cooper. He's gotten a lot of plastic surgery though. I don't know if you've seen. He doesn't look the same anymore. He's like very Botoxed looking. It's really sad.
Wow.
I know. Well, if you're in the chat and there's like a topic you think would be interesting for us to talk about next week or in another week, feel free to throw it in the chat. And we can touch on it. I thought the rapture would be an interesting one, rapture phobia, because I had that. I don't know if other people did, but
I never even thought much about that.
Baptism would be an interesting one.
And because not everybody believes in the rapture, you know that. Did you even know that?
That what? Not yes, I did know that.
That's not even a universal belief, Christian belief in the rapture.
Oh, I remember Sunday school teachers being like, "You got to be ready at all times and make sure your heart's right because he could come back at any time."
True.
And so I would just be sitting there playing with my Gigapet, and all of a sudden it'd cross my mind like, oh, he could literally just come back right now.
That's why I always wore clean socks. I mean, your clothes get left behind, but I didn't want someone finding smelly socks.
That'd be so embarrassing. But they got bigger things like manticores that they'd have to deal with after the rapture happened. Cheetahs with like the feet of...
Wait, what's a man? Oh, you mean once Revelation comes. Yeah.
Revelation's
well, we'll come up with something to talk about.
Yeah.
And really, just a good place to hang out.
Yes.
So, well, yes. I think we're going to wrap it up for this week. Great seeing everybody, and great to have you guys all here. Have an awesome week. Happy Easter.